What's up, gamers? We're back with episode 10 of our turn-based combat tutorial. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to apologize for a couple of things in a row. First off, the delay on this episode. School started up, and before that I was busy taking care of other school-related stuff. But we should be back in the swing of things now. I'll try and get at least an episode out a week, now that school's back in session, but if I can get more, I will try to do that. And the second thing is, I want to apologize for the last episode. That was a complete train wreck. Um, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I want to go back and fix a lot of stuff in this episode. Now you may have noticed that there's something a little bit different. There's this start combat button up here. All I've done is just added this. I should have done this at the very beginning. I don't know why I didn't think of it. But I just went and added a button and then set its on click to. I dragged in the turn combat manager and gave it this test combat function. Now if you don't see this, that is because it was private before, but we went ahead and we changed this to public so that we could do that. This will be removed anyways later, so that is fine to do. I also made sure that the button is disabled afterwards so it doesn't interact with our UI system that we've created. So yeah, we can just use it once. I could have like disabled it so it doesn't show up anymore, but that's fine. There's a couple of other small changes I've made. So I realized that there was a bunch of issues with animation at the end of last episode, so I went and changed a couple small things, and then we can get right back into where we were. So on the enemy and the player-based controller, make sure you make this change on both of these. You can ignore the override controllers since those are just using these as their template, so you just have to change these two. All I've done is on every transition away from run, so these four, I've gone ahead and unchecked has exit time and added this perform attack as a condition, and that's something I've added as well. It's a trigger, and it allows us to cut off running at a better point so that we don't just like walk up to the enemy, continue running in place for a bit, and then attack. So that just like cuts off the attack as soon as we get to where we need to go, and then we do our attack. So that also means, however, that there's a couple changes that we made in here to get that animation working. If we scroll down all the way to our play move phase, you'll notice this looks very different. So this while used to have not enemy took damage. I changed that to while distance, which is this float I've defined right here, which is just the distance between the player and their target, is greater than 1.5. We're going to translate towards them. We're no longer lerping because lerping looks bad with the running animation. We are going to lerp, or not lerp, we're going to translate towards them at just some speed that I'll probably make a variable for so we can adjust how fast they run in the future. And we continue to update distance so that this while loop actually has a condition that'll change. And then once we've reached our destination and this while loop breaks out, we just set the trigger to perform attack, and then we can perform our attack. Before this, we'll just be in our running state due to this boolean is melee. And let's see, there's some other things I've changed in here. Namely right here, I've added this for each loop right here that just resets the trigger that I was setting here that I never reset. Which will, you know, allow us to actually see the enemy take hits multiple times, hopefully. The other thing that I've gone ahead and done is added the necessary stuff here, such as like enemy took damage being set back to false, and resetting the perform attack trigger. Is there anything else? Right, there is one more thing I've changed off screen. And if you want to like copy all this down, just pause and you should be able to grab all of that. The other thing I've changed is that input bug we had, where it wasn't detecting when we hit enter exactly. And now I've changed things a bunch around to like while testing, but I also realized I could simplify this a little bit more. So rather than having that if input get button down whole thing, I just moved everything inside that if loop out to here. and then just made that the while loop condition, because I realized that's what we're waiting for, is just the player to input that they want to attack that enemy. And I've changed get button down to get button because we don't really care. We know that the moment they hit enter, they're going to attack that. We don't really care whether we want that on the frame that they hit it or after, which will, you know, alleviate this whole problem we had with our input speed. That's cool. I think that's pretty much everything. I can't really think of anything else that I've changed. I'm gonna just scroll through here slowly to remember if there's anything else, but I don't think there's anything else that I've changed. Okay, so let's go ahead and see where this leaves our combat system at. Wait, there might have been another animator change I made. No, there wasn't. Okay. All right, so now we can just go ahead and hit play and hit start combat, and that brings up our thing, which is just a lot easier than like trying to finick around with this kind of shit. So yeah, we can now choose our target. There we go. They run up, do their attack, and they warp back. Now that warp back will be, cleverly handled with camera angles, but you could of course add another like full animation sequence there for them to jump back. And we can have this player attack as well. Now you'll notice that there's another thing we need to address here, that our player needs to rotate to face the enemy. Because right now they just kind of run diagonally. It looks kind of funny, but we should try and make this a little bit believable at least. Okay, so now they're attacking. Okay, that worked. Alright, so they're healing. And they're attacking. Oh no, yeah, they are attacking. Cool. And I think that was an area of effect attack. Although, I'm not sure. I think that was actually a heal, because none of the on hits were triggered here. But anyways, that seems to be working fine. Now what we do need to do is figure out if damage is being applied. Enemy took damage, but we never really write how much they take. So that might be something to just really quickly debug. Caps lock on? Yeah, it was. Whoops. Debug.log. Player.stats.damage.evaluate. And we'll just see how much that turns out to be. Because it might be 0, which is a big issue. Alright. And enemy took damage, they took 0 damage. I was right. So if we go onto our player and we look at their damage, you'll notice that we never actually gave them any damage to work with. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's select all of our players for quick editing. I'll just say between 5 and, or like 4 and 7. Okay, and then multipliers, I'll leave it as 0. Agility, we should also give them some agility. I'll say between 3 and 6. These are really just off the top of my head. You'd really want to balance these out much more with like curves and stuff. Attack speed, we'll just go ahead and give that a random value as well. And that's all fine there. We need to do the same for the enemies or we'll never die, which could be a good thing, make the game pretty easy for us. You know what, I'll make it a little bit more fair for the players to win. Damage, we'll just go with something like 3 to 6. Attack speed will go from 1 to 2. Actually no, let's make the attack speed. I don't remember how much I gave the other guys. That's fine. We'll just go 5 to 7. We can check really quick. 5 to 8. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Alright, so that should solve that at the very least. And now I don't remember if we actually decided to order our players. No, we didn't. We left that as a to-do. So we can actually do that pretty quickly. We can do move order dot sort, um, and we can sort based on a comparison or a comparer or wait, no, there was also order by, and we give it a function that takes in a combatant and a key. I don't remember how order by works. I wonder if we can just do something like xspeed.evaluate. Okay, yeah, that is how it works. All right, and if you don't have order by, that is in the system.link namespace up here. Okay, and now I'm not sure if this will put them backwards or forwards, so we'll have to see. But we can we turn on our debug view here and see our move order, which is currently 0. But if you go ahead and hit start combat, we now have our player, followed by player 1, 2, 3, enemy 1. Oh wait, yeah, they're all named enemy. Okay, maybe that. Let's. I think that worked though. Maybe it's order by descending. No, that's not right. Um, let's double check our attack speed. You know what? Let's. Yeah, no, that should be fine. Between 5 and 7, and then evaluate should give us a random in that range. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, there's no multipliers, so they're not being multiplied by 0. And we can test that actually, if they are being multiplied by 0, just by going and hitting someone. Yeah, no, they're totally not random. Okay. I'm pretty sure I did do it incorrectly, though. Check our move order, it's still in, yeah. Wait, did I? All right, we'll come back to this, but that's not the important part. I just got sidetracked. So we've accomplished moving the player back to their spot, kind of. There's a couple things I did want to mention as well, though, before we move any further. So, a lot of turn-based combat systems have like systems in place for like weaknesses and strengths and move types and stuff. And I wanted to leave that out of this tutorial just because that gets us into the whole wormhole of like setting up a good system for that, and then the implementation of it isn't actually too difficult, and I'll leave that up to you guys. I'll maybe do it as like an addendum to this series maybe if I have time. But it's very much like when calculating damage. So say near, you could do it in the take damage. You could instead pass the move, and then you could like compare types, see other weaknesses, and like evaluate that way, and apply any other effects that moves might have. And it's very, this system is definitely modular, and so I'd rather leave it to you guys to bring out the life of this system while I just give you the bare bones, um, so that you guys can create something truly unique and yours rather than just following a tutorial to make something that everyone else that's also following along the tutorial will have. Okay, so we do have our hurt animation and our point in the animation that we play the sound effects in, and this is technically there. I don't think we're modifying anyone's position other than the players at the moment. Okay, so really we just have camera work. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like, enemies should be able to die now. Let's make sure I don't have any null refs once people die. We might want to like change the run speed. Oh yeah, we need to turn the enemies to face, or to turn the players to face who they're attacking. So now our enemy should have, yep, 0 health. Okay, so we need to come up with something for when enemies die. That's one thing. And we need to turn our enemies to face the direction that they're looking. Okay, so two things. So we have our lerp position. This can actually be moved outside of this. We don't need to recalculate that every frame because this is just a vector towards the enemy. So we don't need to recalculate that every frame. The vector is going to stay the same. It's just the distance changes. So that's the distance we need to recalculate every frame. And I will also move this up out of there. And I also kind of want to rename this from lerp position. That doesn't really describe what this does anymore. So maybe like dir to target is a better fit there. Okay. Now what we can do is we can actually move this stuff. Nah, is melee is fine. Yeah. We can now just do like a quaternion dot look rotation, and we want to have them look in the dir to target direction with our vector 3 dot up. So this will just rotate us to look at the target, and then can look up, or not look up, but around the vector 3 dot up axis. So in this case, this world axis up here. So now if we choose an enemy that's farther away, that didn't work. Oh wait. So we need to do player.transform.rotation. You could do like a slurp here. Slurps would look nice. Quaternion.slurp. But we're just gonna set the rotation directly. I feel like we've done a little bit too much of the whoa. Goodbye. Oh yeah, if we're already rotating, then we can just go forwards. Yeah. That does also concern me though. Okay, so if we start combat, backslash. Yeah, because he's going completely different way. Maybe I shouldn't be messing with rotation, but no, this is something we should figure out. So this creates a rotation with the specified forward and upward directions. Okay, so the forward appears to be what's incorrect here. Oh, that's right. Because if you remember, our models are rotated 90. Wait, no, that should still work. We want then, because they're in a container. Yeah, that should be fine. And the dir to target was correct before, so, or we could try transform dot look at targets 0 transform. Okay, I think that might be what we're looking for rather than trying to set rotation ourselves. Nope, he's still running off, so let's pause here. And his rotation is there. Like, this shouldn't have changed. Is it changing? Not really. This though. This is being changed. Wait, oh, this is why. Sometimes I just make myself look very, wait, no, okay. That wasn't it. Is direct to target even be? It isn't being used anymore. We do want to look at this transform. Um, rotates the transform so the forward vector points at the target's current position. And now the other thing I wanted to check, where is our player's transform being set from? Because I'm pretty sure it's taking the... Where is this being? So that's in start combat up here. It's player positions of mission. And where is players of I? Okay, yeah, no, that should be fine. Man, I really should. See, I figured these episodes would be pretty simple, because the stuff I'm trying to do is pretty simple, and then I somehow mess things up in each episode. So instead of like trying to continue to debug this, I'll like add a post note. I'll add this on to the end of the episode afterwards. Instead, so we're not wasting a bunch of time, more than we already have at least. Like I don't know how long I've been recording for, but I do want to like touch on Cinemachine in this episode. So, oh yeah, let's comment this out for now. And then let's put this back. That was what we had, and then we just use our zero to target. Okay. Now, so here's where we start to do our camera work, and to do this, we're gonna work with Cinemachine. Now, I don't know if I imported it already. I did. Okay. Cool. So, Cinemachine. We're gonna have a really brief rundown of what Cinemachine is, and then the next episode we'll start, or maybe we'll try and look at it this episode. I don't know. But well, what Cinemachine is it basically gives you a bunch of camera tools to work with to sort of simplify the whole like camera work. I'm doing a really bad job of explaining this. But let's just dive into it. All right. So first off, we need to add a Cinemachine brain component, and you want to add this to the main camera that you want to control everything. And so now, if we add our post processing, and we just choose some random post process, we don't have one. But like any post processing we add to this camera will be show up on through all the other cameras. But okay, so this is our actual main camera now though. And so now if we want other cameras to work with, we can go to the Cinemachine tab here at the top and create a virtual camera, free look, blend list, state driven, clear shot, dolly camera with track, dolly track with cart, target group, mixing camera, 2D camera, all sorts of fun stuff. It occurs to me I didn't need to read that whole list out loud. So the virtual camera is your very basic camera. It just gives you one, like, it doesn't have any special things to mention about it other than, you know, you can set the follow and look at targets, and then change the body behavior and aim behavior. So what we want is we want this to be our sort of our main battle, or we want this to be our character move select camera. So we want this to be we want this to be what the camera that's used when we're selecting a move. So we could like sort of move it like this. Oh wow, wait, are these guys floating? I really cannot tell. They are. Okay, wait, hold on, fix that. I should not be floating. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Anyway, getting distracted again. We could have the camera be something like this, and then yeah, we'll just have it like this, and then we can take this and do game object dot align, or go to the game object tab, and then hit align with view or Control Shift F. And now if we go to our game view, you'll see what it looks like. Now, because our scene window is a little bit different from our game window, remember is 16:9. Um, we're gonna have to adjust our uh, viewport accordingly, and we'll just do align with view. There we go. This is more like what our uh, view will kind of look like when we're selecting a move. Okay, and just to augment this, let's go ahead and select the correct player. This guy, yeah. So we want to drag player 1 into the follow. No, we do not. Just go ahead and realign that with our view. Okay, and we'll change these to do nothing so it doesn't snap our camera away when we give it. We actually don't need to give it any behavior, now that I think about it, because this is going to be a pretty static camera. So instead, yeah, we can just have the body and the aim do nothing. We can give it a little bit of noise just to sort of, yeah, it's easier to like just show, but if we now look at our game window and hit play, there's a little bit of that camera shake, which looks really nice when we're like trying to select. Just gives us a little bit of movement in a not in an otherwise static area. Okay, we could actually move this over a little bit now as well. So there, maybe. Just go ahead and align with view again. I think that was the exact same, but you can also add extensions for if you're making other games. You can have a collider on it, follow zoom, and it would, a bunch of other things. You can add post processing that takes in a post process profile, all sorts of stuff. I'm just gonna remove that because we're not gonna be using it right now. Okay, and let's really quickly sketch out the other cameras that we'll need. So we'll need one to follow this guy as he runs to attack his foe very valiantly. So we will duplicate this, and this will be the run up camera. And we're just going to do a quick align with view. We're going to make sure it's not too cut off. It is. Zoom out a little bit. Maybe go from below a little bit, actually, like there. Whoa, how did that happen? Something like that, maybe. And we just align with view and check our game window. And if you're not getting this, make sure to change the priority, because if it's below the other camera will override it. And I think the most recent camera takes priority if they're both the same, or it might be the one. Yeah, no, it's the one most recent. Okay. But yeah, this will be our run up camera, so it'll follow them like this, and we will have it'll follow our player 1, and we can just have it follow like this. We could give it some options here, like whether it transposes, and you can change. This is actually a better way of organizing this, but if we zoom out a little bit, see that it's way over there. So let's go ahead and set that back to 0, set the world offset to 2. Now we can just move this around until we see fit. Yeah, so something like that. And you can adjust the damping on each of the axes, so how much it smooths in each axis. Maybe turn the Z damping up a little bit, as well as the X. We won't really know until we see the game in motion, but actually we can take a look really quickly. Yeah, it's still gonna use the main select camera, but that's fine. Um, we also need one for an area of effect attack. This is our melee attack camera. I should actually specify that. Melee camera. We'll duplicate this into our AOE camera. And let's go ahead and we want this to be a framing transposer of enemy. There we go. Actually, wait, we don't need the body to do anything. It's gonna be a pretty static camera as well. And of course, I'd like you to get more creative than I am with this. You know, have like moving cameras and stuff. And in fact, for that, I'd have to be like explaining what each of these do. So I'll do a quick rundown. So there's two different fields that are pretty important in virtual cameras: the follow and the look at. Follow pertains to the body behavior. For now, it's not doing anything. Look at pertains to the aim. The body behavior is the actual physical location of the camera in the scene. The aim is the way its rotation. So how it turns and twists and jumps and pirouettes. That can all be controlled through here. But you can change a bunch of different settings, and it's really fun to play around with. As well as this, we can have it on a dolly. So if you want to like go and make a dolly track, and just have it follow that along its, and you can animate the track so it, you know, slows down, speeds up suddenly, all of that cool stuff with the dolly track, and just using the animation window to record and change the value of the track along the along your time frame or timeline. Yeah, so for the AOE camera, we just want it to we should go back to the game view for this, but we want it to be we want this to be on the transposer. There it is. And we want it to be pretty high. Want it to be there. And then the other thing, we want this to, we actually don't, yeah, that's fine. Whatever, this is all fine. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But now we just need to, on these values, or on these cameras, we're going to need to change values like what it's following, what it's looking at. So that does tell me that we're going to need to change this to a framing transposer with the player 1 as our sort of follow target. And we want this to zoom in a bit more. Oh wait, I'm working on the wrong one. No, the melee camera. This one. Let's go ahead and set that up. So yeah, this should work the way we want. Actually, I had that set up correctly. Alright, cool. And in the next episode, we'll get these actually hooked up with our system. And we will go from there. We'll sort of see how that camera changes look. The cool thing about the Cinemachine camera, if we go onto our brain, we can change how it default blends. So normally when you change the Cinemachine like camera, you can choose whether it directly cuts to the next camera or if it transposes along to the next camera. And all of that stuff can be changed here. I recommend just taking a, you know, like 10-15 minutes to play around with Cinemachine. It's really powerful with the timeline and like for making cutscenes and stuff. I use it a lot in Chicken Odyssey. Coming soon, TM. But yeah, you can also add events. So for whenever a camera is activated or deactivated or there's a cut, all of that can just have stuff based off of that. Anyways, that's gonna be all for this episode. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully the next episode will bring bug fixes and then cool camera work, and then we will go from there. Alright, yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you there.